Health Secretary is launching an independent review into the rising demand for autism, ADHD and mental health services. It's going to look at whether there is overdiagnosis of...
I feel like every couple of months somebody has to come on here and explain in very basic terms why this kind of narrative is created because people are looking at things from the wrong perspective. And the analogy that's often used is left-handedness. 100 years ago, you would have seen very few people being left-handed. Why? Because it was quite literally forced out of them. Their hands were tied behind their backs and you were forced to write with your right hand. Whereas now, if you look at the population of left-handed people, it rose quite rapidly in the last few decades and has begun to plateau. Why? Because we now accept people who are left-handed. Do we look at those statistics and go, whoa, thousands upon thousands more people are being born with left-handedness? Like, what's going on? This is an epidemic. No, because we can see that it's just a shift in our society and a development of things that we are now understanding and not forcing people to not do. So when you look at how many people are being diagnosed autistic now versus 10, 20, 30 years ago, instead of going, oh my God, this is an epidemic of people pretending, you need to take a look at what society we're living in, where information is more readily available, where research is now becoming more up-to-date and moving into practice and diagnostic tools, where we have a more nuanced and broader understanding of what autism and ADHD look like in wider communities, which obviously is going to cast a net wider. And I do not for 1 second believe that people genuinely think that the rise in ADHD and autism diagnosis is because people are pretending. I think that this fear, especially amongst politicians, is because they can see the kind of strain financially that it's putting on services. But that is because they are underfunded in the first place. Autistica did a review of how long it can take to get an autism diagnosis in different areas. I think it averaged at about 1 to 2 years, but in some cases it was 5. And I am not going to hear any of this crap about, well, it didn't exist back in my day. Sir, your granddad collected trains. Nobody was allowed to touch them. He had the same routine week in, week out, where his dinner had to be on the table at 1 p.m. He would then leave and come back, and if his tea wasn't on the table by 6, he'd have a meltdown. He wore the same things and was defined by his routine. Just because he didn't have the language or the label doesn't mean it wasn't there.